Hey and welcome to BoatProjectY. Thank you for joining us as we unveil the secrets behind transforming this extraordinary vessel and discover the hard work, the exceptional craftsmanship and the unyielding spirit of adventure that accompanies every build. Welcome back, you lovely people. We had such a good time in the previous episode, finally painting the hull in one proper glorious single color, and that gave us a massive boost of morale. Amazing what a painted coat can do. Spirits are high, motivation is rocketing, and we are more determined than ever to bring this majestic ship back to her former glory. But for those who think boat restoration is all sunshine, roses and gentle sea breezes, well, I regret to inform you, you are very, very wrong. Today we dive back into the deep dark belly of the aft cabin. For those who may have conveniently forgotten, we are in the midst of restoring the ribs in the aft cabin, measuring hull thickness, figuring out the steel plates that needs replacing. No more white gloves and finishing pencils, no, the gloves are off. We're back in the raw, dirty, unforgiving world of metalwork. The starboard side, and this needs to be confirmed, seems less affected, so let's get cracking. The port side is nearly finished, so now we're shifting to the starboard side. The plan is the same as before. Any ribs that have lost too much of their original thickness or have simply rusted beyond redemption gets cut out and replaced with new L profiles. At the same time, wherever the original overplating is still good, I cut away as much of the original steel as possible to eliminate overlaps. Those little moisture traps that quietly accelerate rust from the inside out, because let's be honest, a boat doesn't rust from the outside in, it rots from the inside out. My method is to chop the original L profiles at a 45-degree angle, increasing the contact surface with the new steel, so the forces can flow more evenly. The new L profiles also get a series of notches, which I then persuade, blacksmith style, into the correct curve using a hammer, a fair bit of stubbornness and brute force. It's slow, patient work. You have to adjust, fit, remove, adjust again. Precision and perseverance is the name of the game. And it's going smoothly. We're making good progress. And say what? No good? What's wrong? The more I cut and grind away, the more weak spots I find in the boat. But I gotta do it right. Better do it right the first time than having issues afterwards. That set me back a full day, but under the motto, stronger than ever, we keep pushing on. And in the end, I'm very happy to see this new rib sitting solidly in place. Do you know the ABC of welding? Always be comfortable. Although, maybe don't take it too literally. Watch out for that welding rod. Oh, okay. Just keep going. And just like that, another small step forward. The new ribs are in place, which means I can start fitting my father's floor supports again and reinstall a section of floor panels. 22 ribs done, only 8 more to go. Booyah! And to keep you fully updated on the now slightly ridiculous saga of the coupling removal story, here we are again. Spoiler alert, the coupling is still very much attached, so feel free to skip ahead if you value your sanity.
So in the never-ending saga of the coupling removal, I built this little contraption because before I push any further, I want to make sure that I'm not overlooking anything. There are 4 bolts in the middle of that contraption. Maybe, just maybe, there's like a cone shape mount in the center of it. Let me try to pull it out and just be 100% certain that's not the case. All right, cheers.
Setting up my homemade contraption and then once again applying tension in the hopeful expectation that a magical but stubborn conical ring might pop out and finally surrender. But it does not. The only way forward now is the oxy torch.
Another defeat.
Now, far more impressive than my ongoing mechanical humiliation is the fact that my daughter decided on a beautiful Saturday to make herself useful on the boat. She climbed into the engine compartment to tackle the greasy residue that was still clinging on the bilge, even after the high-pressure hydroblast. Nothing spectacular to watch here, but her dedication and effort deserves more than just a passing mention. So, once again, Thank you very much, my princess. Every little bit helps. At some point, and remind you she's in the belly of the boat with no windows to look outside, she must have heard footsteps or some other movement outside the boat that spooked her. Little hesitation on what to do. She collects her courage to go and check it out. Only to ignore it and to crack on. That's my girl. Now, I've seen some comments asking how it's possible that I get so little done in 2 weeks. Let me make something very clear and consider this a tip for anyone taking on a similar project. Never ever underestimate how much time goes into cleaning, sorting, and disposing of waste. Hours and hours disappear into separating materials, hauling them away, and making endless trips to the recycling yard. Steel, plastic, old paint, used oil, it all adds up. I couldn't even put a percentage on it, but it's significant, necessary, and not to be underestimated. So yes, this is part of the job and part of the story. Thank you again for being here and for following and for sharing this journey with me. Step by step, we're moving towards the full restoration of this beautiful ship. I'll have to step away for a bit due to professional obligations, but don't worry, you're still owed a full recap of the past year coming up next, so hopefully something worth looking forward to. Ahoy, my friends, stay safe, winds in your back and sunshine on your faces.